2017 was a very interesting year. There were a lot of great things that happened and a lot of bad things that happened. But one thing you can't argue is that this year was a fantastic year for video games. Well, for the most part. And although I didn't have the pleasure to play every critically acclaimed game, such as Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, I did get my hands on a plethora of fantastic games. This is my top 10 games of 2017. At number 10, we have the sequel to Splatoon, Splatoon 2. This game, like the original, is a Nintendo shooter that requires you to cover up as much ground with your color ink as the opposing team. This is the general concept of the game, but it also has a survival mode that for some reason is only open during certain times, ranked battle, which is the equivalent to competitive in Overwatch, random different arcade modes, and a single player mode which follows the story to find Callie with the help of Marie, the Squid sisters from the first Splatoon. Although this game was fun to play, I didn't ever feel the need to come back to it. I know they had Splatfest every month, which is great, but it was very obvious that they were being altered to this thing's side every time. Not to mention there was that time where all the posts created by people in the game were filled with, actually, you know what? I don't think I'm allowed to talk about that on YouTube, so I'm just going to move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9 is Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment. But Caleb, isn't that DLC and not a game? Calm down, I know what it looks like, but if anyone has ever played Shovel Knight, you know very well that this, along with Plague of Shadows, are free DLC for buying Shovel Knight and are full, entirely new games with new ways of playing and a new story. Even though this story has familiar levels, the design, layout, and the way you progress through these levels are entirely different. Spectre of Torment follows the story of Spectre Knight and how he was tricked into joining the Order of No Quarter. As you'll soon find out, I'm a sap for a good story, and for a game that's decently short with an 8-bit art style, this game has a pretty engaging story. Speaking of art style, I really love this old 8-bit style, and the music created to match the aesthetic is very satisfying. I look forward to future DLC and games by Yacht Club Games. I feel like I'm gonna upset a few people for even considering this on my list, but for number 8, I've chosen Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. Yeah, I put a remaster on this list. Sue me. If you've watched my video on this game, you already know, but I love Crash Bandicoot. He was a majority of my childhood, and when they announced this game, I was super excited to play it. All of the levels from the first 3 games were rebuilt from the ground up, and so were all the cutscenes, music, audio, UI, controls, everything was rebuilt. But yet, it was still the Crash that we all know and love. If you haven't had a chance to ever play any of the original Crash Bandicoot games, then this is the way to do it. Just be sure to mentally prepare yourself for the first game. It's not that easy. Alright, now we're starting to get into the games I had a really hard time figuring out where they belong on the list, but for number 7, I choose Cuphead. What a stunning game. I mean, what can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? I mean, the whole thing was drawn frame by frame for Pete's sake. So much love was put into this game, and you can feel it all the way through. Except for that stupid robot. Screw you, Dr. Wily. I don't want to see you ever again. So obviously the aesthetic of this game is going to be good if it's all hand-drawn in the style of old cartoons, but not only that, this is one of those games that is just so satisfying to play. You could be struggling and yelling and saying you're done with this game, but the minute you beat a boss, you're like, okay, maybe one more. Not to mention that the upbeat jazzy music just adds an extra layer to this magnificent game. For number 6, I chose Just Monica. Just Monica. Number 2, Just Monica. Just Monica. Just Monica. Just Monica. Just Monica. For number 6, I chose Doki Doki Literature Club. I want to do the best I can to not spoil this game, and that's kind of hard to do when you want to talk about how great it is. Tell you what, why don't you go play it now? It's free. No, I'm serious. This is a free game. Now, how do I tell you how good it is? Well, this game is a dating sim, except it's not. And well, let's just say that this is a very unique game, and I haven't seen what this game does ever before. The closest comparison I can give it is Undertale, and even then, I don't think that's right. Just go play the game, and you'll see for yourself, and don't forget to pick Just Monica. You guys remember back in the Breath of the Wild analysis video whenever I said I couldn't pick between Nier Automata and Breath of the Wild? Well, I finally came to that conclusion, and for number 5, I've chosen Nier Automata. This stunning game created by Square Enix has a very special place in my heart. The story and atmosphere are amazing in this game, and the music has a very unique feel to it that I had never heard before, almost like an eerie, enchanting soundtrack. In fact, it won an award at the Game Awards this year for the best score. There was only a couple of issues I saw in this game, and most of that had to do with the pacing, but if you enjoy a good story centered around the life of androids and a fun combat system, this is the game for you. It had been a very long time since a game has pulled me into its world and told an engaging story, and it was refreshing to experience that in this game. That is, until I encountered it 2 more times this year. For number 4, I've picked Super Mario Odyssey. It devastated me not to put this any higher on the list, but I just couldn't bear to put it above my top 3. Mario Odyssey is the newest of the quote-unquote good Mario games since Mario Galaxy 2, and boy does this game deliver. For those of you unaware, Mario goes on an adventure with his newly found friend Cappy, where they set off to rescue Peach and Cappy's sister from Bowser, who plans on forcefully marrying Peach, cause, you know, he can do that, I guess. You can use Cappy to possess, capture enemies and take over them and use them to collect multiple power moons. I had so much fun with this game that after I beat it, I went out of my way to collect every single moon and do everything I can in this game. The entire time I was playing this game, I was smiling like an idiot from all the fun I was having. This is a must-have on the Nintendo Switch, and I highly recommend that you add this to your list of games for the Nintendo Switch. Coming in at number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. For those of you who don't know this, I'm a huge fan of the Xenoblade Chronicles series, as you can tell by my reaction to the reveal of this game. Oh, yeah, baby. Xenoblade Chronicles was the last game I played before this year that got me so involved with the characters and the world and the gameplay. Everything about this game made me happy, and I always love coming back to it. So when Monolith Soft announced that they were going to make a second Xenoblade Chronicles, I lost my mind. This game has amazing characters, beautiful music, a fantastic story that got me teary-eyed in some parts, and a beautiful world to explore. I will warn people though, if you have no interest in JRPGs, then this may not be for you. However, the combat is not turn-based, which used to be what took me out of JRPGs. A couple of gripes I want to get out real quick about people hating on this game. First of all, Tumblr, please, I know you can't get over the fact that a female Japanese artist is okay with this, and this design, but you can't tell me that this game has bad character design. This game has amazing character design, whether it be personality or the way they look. However, Rex's voice actor could use some work. And second of all, Kotaku, seriously, what's your problem? If you take a good look at their review for Xenoblade on their website, you can pretty much write it off as a terrible review just by the first few paragraphs. Inelegant and tedious, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the anti-Nintendo game. Wow, they really hated this game. Well, let's read the first sentence of the next paragraph, shall we? I didn't love the first Xenoblade Chronicles. Okay, moving on. I'm not sure if many of you are going to guess this, but my number 2 is Breath of the Wild. For those of you who have been a part of the MURPHGAM army for a while, you should know by now that my favorite franchise of all time is The Legend of Zelda, and it hurts me more than ever to not put a Zelda game at number 1, but this game had more problems than I was okay with, even though they kind of fixed them in the newest DLC. Honestly, the things they did fix should have been in the game in the first place, and not something I had to pay for to get a better story, but I digress. Overall though, this game did deserve its place as this year's Game of the Year. It had such an expansive world and was a lot of fun to just relax and explore in. Most of my complaints about this game were about the story decisions, which is one of the biggest reasons why this is at 2 and not 1. But if you want a detailed explanation of what I thought of Breath of the Wild as a whole, you can check out that video by clicking the eye in the top right corner. You'll never see it coming, but for number 1, I chose Persona 5. What a brilliant game. I was afraid to play this game since it was turn-based, but I ended up falling in love with this game. I love the mixture of having to live in everyday life while also having to fight to break the chains of society. I have never played any other Persona game, but this game got me excited to try out some of the others. I mean, I can't even describe to you guys just how much fun I had playing this game. The entire main story of the game took me a total of 101 hours of gameplay, and I still wanted more after I was done with it. I felt like every day I played this game, I was part of the life of the students and the friends of the game, and I wanted to see what they were up to past the game. I got to live every day of these characters' lives out as they fight for a life that isn't twisted by perverted minds or nasty politics or the corrupted mind of gang leaders. This game made me 100% invested in everything. Everything about this game made me happy, and any problem that I had with this game was either fixed down the line or was just a small nitpick that could be easily overlooked. This game is absolutely worth your time, all 100 plus hours of it, and I would recommend it in a heartbeat to anyone. Unless you don't want to commit 100 hours of your life to a video game, then yeah, I guess that's fine. I hope everybody enjoyed this top 10, and I hope to see you in whatever I decide to do next. Be sure to subscribe for more stuff like this, and for our other series, Murph Play, where I play random games and make a short montage of the funniest moments. Also, be sure to stay connected with us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, where we say stupid stuff on the internet and post updates and polls about new videos. Just remember, guys, that we are MURPHGAM, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.